Hello, lovely beings of light in physical bodies, incarnate divine beings that many of whom are aware of the difficult task ahead of us, but it's not going to take much longer. And it's heating up. And so I'm wearing my Good Vibes established 1969 collection. And I don't know if that's when Good Vibes were officially established, but it might have been. That's the year I graduated from high school. I've always said, I looked it up and I got the date wrong, but I always said I graduated on 6/9/69 because I just like numbers and it just seemed like a great number to use. But I did graduate in 6/something/69. But I thought I would read you something that I got from one of my followers. So fun to say, one of my followers, and we just have a great time, and I just like him so much. And I'm not sure if his name is, his first, last name, whatever, is Harjanis, or H. Arjanis, or Harjanis, or Harjan is. But he's a great person, and I just love his questions and his answers and his, we do a kind of a tag team kind of thing. So here's what he says, and it's in the comments section, so I'm not like, wasn't a private thing. Anybody could read it on the World Healing October 15th video, which is 1 minute 40 seconds, so you probably want to read something. I think it took me longer to write the description of it than it took to make the video, but it was just a video about the healing fields set up. If you want to join it, you can. But here's what Harjanis, and maybe he'll correct me, here's what he wrote. Hello, Stephen. Just FYI, and for those who, like me, are really out of the loop, that means for your information about the synchronicity, Kali Yuga, the age of darkness, changed to the Dwapara Yuga, the age of energy, and it's fully anchored by March 2025. This is in sync with the Mayan calendar. This is very interesting. I thought this might interest you. And I wrote him back and I said, it interests me very much because there's so many synchronicities. So the synchronicity between the date that I was given for the completion of the cleansing, the 28-year cleansing cycle. So our Earth propels. It's like a propeller for the sun, if you can imagine that. But our Earth kind of propels the sun in its orbit around the central sun. And it's a 26,000-year cycle. So the whole kind of yin-yang thing is that there's a 13,000-year cycle where the Earth is male and the surround of the Earth is female. And that goes 13,000 years. So that was over 13,000 years ago, and we went through probably a 28-year transition period like we're going through now. And then the next cycle came along, and it was 13,000 years with a female presence as the soul of the Earth and a male energetic around the Earth. That transition period where the female being was leaving and the male being was coming in was March 23rd of of 1997. So I was on a hillside in Manchester, Michigan, and I was directed to this hillside, and I was supposed to do these ceremonies, and I did the ceremonies, and I was supposed to. It wasn't until the last minute they told me what was actually happening was that the soul of the earth was incarnating into the planet, and I was helping. And I just feel sometimes just as dumb as I look. Sometimes I feel like, why did they ask me to do this? It's like when they said, we want you to set up a healing field for the planet. And I was like, you got to be kidding. You want me to set up a healing field for the planet? That seems like a pretty big thing. And you think I can do this? And they will say things to me like, that's why we've trained you. And when I set up the field and I say, it's going to kill me, I'm going to die. This energy is too much. It's going to kill me. And their response to me is like, no, it's not. Because I trust that they actually know some stuff up there. If they're working with these forces of, Kali Yuga and Dwapara Yuga and all these cosmic things going on, I figure they can probably tell if what they're going to do is going to just smack me down. But it didn't. It's almost 5 years later. The field for the Earth, to ground the disturbance of the Earth, was set up at the end of January 2020. How they came up with that date, I don't know. But going back to 1997, when I was one of 4, what they refer to, they like to make us feel good because they're just working our asses off. So they like to toss us a bone once in a while. So they said, well, the 4 pillars of light. So I was one of 4 pillars of light, like one of 4 Oreo cookies or whatever, pillars of light, who were trained to hold a space for the soul of the earth to incarnate through. And let me tell you this, when that being incarnated through, it incarnated through. And I felt it. I was like, holy mother God. And then I leaned over and I said, my name's Steve McLean. I live in Ann Arbor. Which was interesting because it caused the being to put on its brakes. Come to a stop. Turned around and said something like, but I think this was the exact words, I'm perfectly aware of who you are. And I went, wow, isn't that cool? Here I'm stopping the being who's coming to transform the planet and be the new soul of the earth for the next 13,000 years. And I'm trying to, and I'm a groupie already. And I'm aware of who you are. So he said, if you need anything, just let me know. He said, but I'm going to be quite busy because over the next 28 years, I'm going to be assisting the vibration of the planet to rise. Because when you're the body, the soul of the earth is your body. Pretty much, if you could do that, you could do anything. So he said, I'm going to be raising the vibration of the planet over the next 28 years. And there's going to be 7 years of physical cleansing, 7 years of mental cleansing, 7 years of emotional cleansing, and 7 years of spiritual cleansing. Well, guess what? We're in the 7 years of spiritual cleansing, and there's only 6 more months, less than, left in the cleansing process. So if that doesn't just make your heart joyful, because I don't know about you, but I just feel like I'm going to get my ass kicked. And that's a very spiritual saying. Oh, they're kicking my ass. But I've really felt like, especially the past year, has just been kind of brutal. Before that, I'd complain about it. Like, it's too much. Oh, I need some time off. Blah, blah, blah. And they just go, no. Stick with it. I don't know if I'll, come March 24th, I guess it is, because the new cycle starts on the 25th. So I was off by a day. I've been saying March 23rd for almost 28 years. And then the Mayan calendar showed me that it was actually the 24th. And the new cycle started on the 25th. 23rd, 24th, 25th. You know, 23rd was supposed to be the end of the cycle. 24th I thought was the beginning, but it's the 25th is the beginning, and the 24th is the ending of the cycle. And, you know, I'm a person who just does, and so I'd like to say I'm a person who does what he's told, if my sense is it's in the highest good. But actually it's not really true, because oftentimes I'll be told to do things and I just won't do them because I just don't feel like I want to do them. Not that they're the right thing, just I don't want to do it. So I don't. And that can put a wrench in some of the plans. If you don't show up for work, you know, a certain amount of the work is going to go to somebody else or it's not going to get done. So I've really committed myself. I should be committed. That's what my wife says. You should be committed. But I've committed myself to really focusing up this last 6 months. I think that one of the new terms, although it might not be a new term anymore, because they used it in the presentation I made about 5 years ago. They called it leveling up. And I spoke with one other energy healer and 2 or 3 conspiracy theorists. It was a good day event. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a random talk. Just in case you didn't get it, I'll just call it the random talk of October 15th. And I'm just going to talk as long as it takes the cookies to finish cooking. And I set them for 23 minutes, so I've probably already gotten 10, 13, so I got a few more minutes to go. So, a few just little pieces. So, really difficult, emotional stuff going on the last few days. And yesterday, it was just building up. And I had to say to myself, Steve, because I call myself Steve. My parents called me Steve. Well, part of the time they called me Roy, which was my middle name, but later on they called me Steve. But anyway, I said to myself, Steve, you got to quit interrupting yourself, because then you forget what you're going to say. But here's what I was going to say. Yesterday morning, the dream world just kind of blew me out of my socks. And I didn't get up for a couple hours in the morning. I just did breath work and yoga and healing chants, healing sounds with Master Gu. And I just was working the energies. And then I got to a place where I felt like, okay, I can function somewhat in the world. And I got up. And then I realized I was really angry. After doing 2 hours of yoga, sound healing, I was really angry. And I just said to myself, Steve, just don't point anything out to your housemate. Because in this state, everything they're going to be doing wrong. And your habit in the past was to point it out. That's why I didn't, housemates didn't always last that long. Until death do we part, or till one of us just can't take the other one anymore. But that's not been happening here, so all of my stepchildren, no worries, we're good. She even liked my cookies today. She usually doesn't like my cookies. But she liked them so much today that she took 2 with her when she went out, which just really touched my heart. Okay, so I said, just don't say anything. She'll pick it up by your vibration, because she's a Reiki master and she's aware of energy. She'll pick it up by your vibration that you're off a bit today. And then later in the afternoon, and I'm going to say this was yesterday about 2 or 3 o'clock, I was standing washing dishes, and this anger was building, and you can feel it right now because I'm reproducing it so you can feel it. This anger was building and building, and the tension in the center of my scapulas, right, directly back from that area or so, the tension in my scapulas related to the liver, which is related to anger. Anyway, it's horrible to know these things sometimes. It's just like tightness, and I was just like, oh my God, this feels like my father. And I went, oh, I grew up with a man that was angry with me. He may have been angry with the world in general, but he was especially angry with me because I was the product of a relationship between his wife and somebody else, her tennis partner. And I got a feeling they had this really passionate thing that produced me, which is what explains why I'm so passionate at times. But anyway, he to get her away, he moved far away. He moved like 1,600 miles to another country, United States from Canada. And there were 4 of us at the time, and then another one arrived afterwards. Yeah. But anyway, I knew as a child, I knew as an aware, energetic being that this man did not like me. And I could compare myself to my siblings, and I could see he likes them. This is what it looks like when somebody likes somebody. This is what it looks like when somebody doesn't like somebody. This is what it feels like as well. So anyway, we got things pretty straight by the time I was 28. So we cleared the decks. We got along well until the end of his life, which was in his 80s, so probably in my 50s, late 80s. So we got along till then. So more than half my life, or maybe half my life. But that anger imprinted in my etheric body, maybe. I don't know where these things imprint, but into my genetics, into my etheric body, into my nerve system. But somehow it was in there, and it was trying to come out. And I let it out. And you don't have to know what it is to let it out. You can just let it out. But sometimes if you know what it is, you go, wow, I'm 73, that bad vibe. This is good vibes. Good vibes. That was bad vibes. I'm 73, and I was inside for 9 months, and the bad vibes hadn't quit, so let's just say 74 years of my being around, I got this bad anger vibe and this depth of sadness from my father. And I released it. So that was cool. I'm just going to look at the time, see if I got a little more time, a few more minutes before the cookies come. So the next piece of this was that last night, it was another just terribly intense night. All these people and all these poor choices on the other person or my part in our relationship, and all of it, all coming at me in the dream world. Time of clearing. And when I woke up, before I woke up, when I somewhat came into consciousness, I was told to heal my relationships heal all my relationships. So how this worked out, I looked at Father and I said, I forgive you for everything you've done, and I forgive me for everything I've done to you. Did the same with my mother, my grandparents on one side, my grandparents on the other. Any siblings they might have had, that's all I went back, was just to my grandparents on both sides. And then my aunts and uncles, my cousins, I just did the whole family thing. And people were just showing up, and I say, I forgive you and I forgive myself. And I said that over and over and over again. I forgive you, I forgive myself. I forgive you, I forgive myself. Clearing, clearing, clearing. Whatever, 100 relationships. I was semi in the dream world when I was doing it, but I was lucid and I knew what I was doing when I was doing it. Very end, I was told to say these words. I forgive myself and everyone for everything. And I'll just tell you, it left me unbelievably disoriented today. Until I made cookies, and that brought my orientation back. And I noticed I just grabbed the green footstool because it's a grounding rod. So anyway, that's the story. That's it for today. I hope the healing field served you well. I'm probably going to, if I can, I'm going to be setting these up every day and making short videos probably, just so people can go, oh, a healing field, tap into it, do that, and then we can get on with our day. So it's just lovely spending time with you. And there's the cookies. There's the timer. It's lovely spending time with you. I love you very much. I appreciate everything you're doing for this world and its healing. I appreciate all that you're doing to clear up every relationship you have with every person you have on an energetic level. Doesn't have to be talked out, just on an energetic level. I forgive you. I forgive myself for whatever I've done in relationship to you. All right. Phew, Nowmustgo.